Let's get it. Welcome back to another edition of the Hampton Show. Joel, how are we feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I feel like there's a lot of great things happening in the NBA that we're going to talk about today. There's a lot of buzz around certain players maybe potentially getting moved. We're going to sort through all of that today. I can't wait.
Absolutely. Today we're revealing one trade for every NBA team if the trade deadline was today. So let's start up top with the Atlanta Hawks. What move do they need to make? Who would you target? How do you see the Atlanta Hawks maneuvering at this year's trade deadline?
I think the Hawks are going to stand pat. The big move they made was in the offseason, getting Kristaps Porzingis and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And Alexander-Walker has played really well for them. They've been winning, even though Trae Young has been out of the lineup. The only trade that I see them making that I think could really push things over the edge for them would be a potential Anthony Davis trade, where they package Porzingis and somebody else to go get him. But I just don't see the reunion in Dallas with Porzingis, and I don't think that Anthony Davis is really a long-term fit for Atlanta if Trae's future is in question there as well. So I think the Hawks are going to stand pat. I don't think they're going to do anything, but
yeah,
that's the trade I would make.
Yeah, nothing huge for them. I think if they needed one thing, probably a backup for Trae Young, make a call to Boston about Payton Pritchard, see if he's available. But outside of that, I don't see them making any big moves either. Let's get to the Boston Celtics and stick in the East. What do you see in their future?
I think they need to start retooling around Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. This is a wasted year, if we're being honest. And the one position they really need is center. They need somebody to fill in that role. And there's a couple good centers on the market. My favorite one is probably Daniel Gafford. If Dallas is going to become sellers, I like Daniel Gafford a lot for the Celtics. If the Nets sell on Nic Claxton, I like Claxton a lot for Boston. But I think it's one of those centers that they're going to be able to protect the rim, roam around the paint, and catch easy lobs. I feel like that type of center fits well with the Celtics, and there's a couple of those on the market.
Yeah, ideally, if you could kill two birds with one stone, have Anthony Simons in the deal as well. Anthony Simons with Nic Claxton involved, Anthony Simons with Daniel Gafford involved. Because I don't envision Anthony being a part of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum's future, but I envision either Gafford or Claxton being a part of it. And we can move on to the Nets. I think Claxton is the move. You have the market for him. It's not because Claxton has had some unbelievable year, but the market for an archetype of that center, I could name 5 teams off the top of my head who would love to have Nic Claxton on the roster. So whatever you could get from him, haul-wise, I think is the move to make if I'm Brooklyn.
I agree. I think for the Nets, they have a couple. I mean, it's Claxton, it's Cam Thomas. It's also Michael Porter Jr., who's playing really well. He's averaging 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists. And he's coming off his 2 best assist performances. He's passing the ball more. Maybe it's the Brooklyn tax because Mikal Bridges was playing at this high level in Brooklyn too. But Michael Porter Jr. looks really good.
Yeah, and I feel like the most underrated part of his game is his availability, too. He's been available every night. It hasn't converted to winning, but we expected him to have a scoring leap, and he's had a bigger one than most people foresaw. So I wouldn't mind anybody making a call about Michael Porter Jr. Down to the Charlotte Hornets, though, Miles Bridges is another guy who's having a career year in Charlotte. He's averaging a career high for them, and I think the move for the Hornets, this young and up-and-coming bunch, is to move him when his value is at its most. I don't know what you get for him, whether you're looking for assets or a piece that fits better than him, but I think moving Miles Bridges is the thing to do if I'm the Hornets.
The Hornets are interesting. If they want to go all in and finally get a playoff appearance, I think that Anthony Davis for them makes a lot of sense. With LaMelo, Brandon Miller, Kneppel, who looks like the rookie of the year, I think Anthony Davis would be like the veteran to cement things for them as like a playoff team, but there's a lot of risk involved with that, and that might just ruin what they're building organically right now. I don't see them making any move. I think that they're going to stand pat, and they just have to see this team through, and hopefully it gets healthy, because Miller has been unhealthy. LaMelo is in and out the lineup, and his shot selection can be very wonky. Last night he was kind of soft benched in their game because he was just shooting terribly from the field, having a lot of turnovers. But for them, I think it's just going all in on Kneppel and just continuing to give him the keys and making sure that nobody that comes in can take away from that.
Yeah, the LaMelo thing's interesting. Even last Friday, I remember I was watching an overtime game that they had. Kneppel had 27 points in the contest, and LaMelo Ball was on the bench for the overtime period. So they really need to find out who's a part of this core and who's not. And Miles Bridges, we know one thing. Despite him averaging 23 points a game, it hasn't converted to winning. Go see what the market is for a guy like that and move on. A guy you mentioned earlier in the podcast, Daniel Gafford, is to me a perfect fit for the Chicago Bulls. If you could flip Nikola Vucevic for that and get some assets on top of Gafford, I think that would be the perfect trade if I'm the Bulls. He would fit with Josh Giddey and that culture, but Nic Claxton's another name I throw in for Chicago as well.
So no Anthony Davis, because that's been a rumor
No.
out there.
No, Anthony Davis, and I was going to get to this later, but I'll get to it now. Golden State Warriors, to me, I know they don't have the assets that everyone else does, but they seem like the team desperate enough to make a move like that. And that fits the timeline with Steph Curry. Whether you want to involve Jimmy Butler in that deal or involve Draymond Green in that deal, take your pick. It doesn't matter to me. But Anthony Davis, if I'm him, I want to go nowhere except Golden State.
If I'm Golden State, I'll just be very hesitant to trade Draymond Green or Jimmy Butler.
Tell me more.
Jimmy Butler is probably just as good as AD now. He's more available than him.
This team's 9-8, Joel. It's a better fit.
And then Draymond Green is the defensive anchor. He's a better defender than Anthony Davis.
He's not a better player than Anthony Davis. You can't tell me that, right?
No, he's not. But
So this team would not have a better record than 9-8 with Anthony Davis on the roster. Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know. Based on their schedule and based on the games that Anthony Davis has missed already,
That's fair.
It'd be worse if we're being honest.
What's the other option? We're looking in the dark days of Stephen Curry now, and the guys you mentioned are available. Draymond Green's on the court. Jimmy Butler's on the court. It's not converting to winning. Everybody wants to point at the final quarter of last season as a reason that they're a contender. It hasn't carried over thus far. And maybe they're just an older team. It's taken them a while to warm up. But if we're in February and this is a team that's one game over 500, I'm taking a swing like that on Anthony Davis. I don't care how many games he has been out, because even on a much smaller level, I'm thinking of a guy like Marcus Smart. He clearly did not want to play in Memphis. Now he clearly wants to play in LA. Maybe that is the thing for Anthony Davis.
I think that Golden State, their struggles are rooted in the schedule that they've had. They've played 17 games in 29 days.
Yeah.
I think for an older team, it's just really hard to deal with that type of mileage, the type of effort you got to exert every night for that, especially the opponents you're probably playing. I think that's played in a lot into Golden State, because we've seen Golden State against the best competition. We've seen them against Denver. We've seen them against San Antonio. The only team that they got trounced by was OKC, but OKC does that to everybody. Yep. So, like, Golden State against the top West teams, they've held their own and they've won those games. So I think that they're still an amazing team. It's just that the schedule hasn't done them any favors.
Let's not call them amazing, despite the schedule struggles. We don't have to use that adjective. Make the case for Anthony Davis for the Chicago Bulls. Do you like that? Because I don't. I don't see what that does for Chicago besides them being the laughingstock of the NBA, or their front office being the laughingstock of the NBA, which they've been for the last decade plus.
I don't love it for Chicago either, but I think that there's really few teams that make sense for Anthony Davis. I think that a lot of teams don't make sense. Like the Warriors, you mentioned it. That's the team that he has the best chance to compete on. But I wouldn't trade Draymond just for what he's meant to the team and what he still means defensively for them. Yeah. I wouldn't do that.
That move would go through Stephen Curry. Would you be willing to part ways with Draymond Green? If the answer is no, you don't do it. I agree. But if the answer is yes, I pull the trigger on a guy like Anthony Davis and try to capitalize on, what we have left of Stephen Curry's career, because what they have missed since their championship in 2022 is a presence of a big man. And the 2022, you can call it a fluke all you want and stuff, but they had that in Kevon Looney, and they don't have Kevon Looney on the roster anymore. Kevon Looney's not Anthony Davis. He's nowhere close to it, but he is a rebounding big that was reliable. And Al Horford, at his age, cannot do the same things that Anthony Davis is capable of doing right now.
It just affects so many things, though. Like, I think the Draymond point, because Jimmy Butler, maybe they do make that trade, but I don't know. Jimmy Butler, when Steph Curry's off the court, he's able to uplift the offense in a way that I don't know that AD can if he's the only sole offensive initiator on the court. With Draymond, it's not only you're losing defense, but you're also losing the chemistry that he's built with Steph Curry offensively. Offensively, he's in every action as the role man, making decisions, being the playmaker, knowing that system. He knows it like the back of his hand. Anthony Davis coming into this brand new, I don't know how it fits. I don't like it. If you were telling me you're adding AD to this team with Steph, with Draymond, and with Jimmy, then I'd love it. but it's essentially impossible to do that. You have to trade one of those guys, and I just don't think that it's worth it.
And your answer, you would trade neither.
I would trade neither.
If Stephen Curry said yes to Draymond Green and we got a chance to keep Steph, Jimmy, and Anthony Davis, I would do it and not even blink twice. I don't care if it involves Kuminga, more picks, whatever. I would do it and I would not blink twice. I think as far as the Warriors with that big three, you can make the argument for Draymond offensively and stuff, and make the argument about Anthony Davis not being on the court. But Draymond has been a guy who these past couple years has taken himself out of games by getting thrown out of games, by getting suspended for games at a time. I think Anthony Davis, yes, the injury thing is a concern, but if Curry said yes to that, it would be a yes for me too.
I don't think Curry would say yes to that. He's loyal.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Let's go to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I put nothing because they physically cannot make a move. They're $22 million over the second apron. I saw Bleacher Report had a mock draft of them trading Garland for your boy Franz Wagner, but I think that's a little too wacky for me. Their half-court offense looks lost whenever Garland is not playing or not in the game, and I don't think Franz Wagner would be able to replace that. I think they need a guy like Garland, and my answer is nothing for them.
Yeah, they can't make any moves.
Let's get to the Dallas Mavericks we already talked about with Anthony Davis. Do whatever you can to get him off the roster, whether it's Detroit, Chicago, Sacramento, wherever. I think Detroit is a team that needs to take a swing, and I don't know if Anthony Davis is the right move. If I'm Detroit, I'm calling about Lowry Markkanen immediately, but realistically, you could say nothing if I'm the Pistons. You go into the playoffs and do exactly what OKC did a couple years ago. Go in, lose in the second round, find out what you need, and read and react from there. But if you want to get pushy in February, I wouldn't mind, calling about Lowry Markkanen. I feel like he fills a lot of the holes that they have, the few holes that they have, especially this year leading the Eastern Conference.
They need to continue to rely on the young core and the growth of it. I don't think they need to make any moves personally. For the Mavericks, Anthony Davis is somebody we mentioned. We mentioned Daniel Gafford. They pretty much have three more players too they could trade. That's Kyrie Irving, that's PJ Washington, and that's Najee Marshall. I think Najee Marshall is going to get traded. Najee Marshall is making 10 to 11 million per year. He might be making a little bit less, actually. It's a team-friendly contract. You're easily able to match that salary. And I think a player like that would go a long way for one of these teams that have aspirations. I like the Knicks a lot for Najee Marshall. I think Najee Marshall on the Knicks, he would give us another wing, a defender, a bench player, and Najee's a good defender. He can initiate offense. He's a streaky shooter. But overall, this is one of the best available role players, I think, on the market. And I think he's the one that's most likely to get traded.
Would the Knicks be interested in Ty Jerome?
He hasn't played.
Didn't answer the question.
I don't think so. We have Ty Jerome at home.
Oh, when Grizzlies are 4-11, Joel can't even give me a pat on the back. My goodness. All right, let's get into I agree with everything you said about the Mavericks. Yeah, Najee Marshall could move. PJ Washington's going to get a lot of phone calls too, even though he's, upper echelon. He's making more money than Najee Marshall. But yeah, I agree with everything you said. Denver Nuggets, another team in the West. I think being outside the top 10 in three-point shooting when you have Nikola Jokic on the roster is a problem. The amount of gravity he has on the court, you should be in top 10 in three-point percentage, and you need to go out and get a shooter. That's the move to make if I'm a Denver Nuggets.
They need to just hope that Cam Johnson's shoulder injury is not serious, because his nerve issue, I think that's what his shoulder injury is. He's not shooting the ball well. And that's why in the offseason, maybe I bought into a little bit too, but I kind of felt like Michael Porter Jr. was getting a little bit disrespected when I understand the move, and financially it made a lot of sense because they were able to trade MPJ and bring in 3 to 4 players. But Cam Johnson has never been a better player than Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. is a far better basketball player than him. He just made more money, and therefore he was moved on from. But just from a basketball perspective, I mean, he's showing in Brooklyn right now, how much better he is than him. Even in Denver, he had great flashes. I think he averaged 16 or 18 points last season. He got traded because of a bad playoff slump, if we're being honest. But yeah. Cam Johnson has had bad playoff slumps too. I thought that the Cam Johnson move was really good, but I feel like people ignored all of Cam Johnson's red flags, which were that he does get hurt, and he is streaky in the playoffs, and he can be streaky as a shooter. If he's not shooting, he's not doing anything for you.
Yeah, and I think you're ignoring the other aspect of that Cam Johnson deal. It wasn't just about Cam Johnson or the fact that he's a better player than Michael Porter Jr. You get in these arguments with yourself without me saying anything for you. You're sitting here like I'm like, oh, Cam Johnson's an equal player than Michael Porter Jr. I haven't said that. I don't remember anybody in the NBA media saying that. That deal was
I
more
remember it.
I don't. I That deal was more than just, let's have Cam Johnson. He'll make up the difference. It was about Jonas Valanciunas. And this is a disagreement you and I have had for months now. Jonas Valanciunas, no, he's not what he used to be. No, he's not a starting caliber center. But what he is he has given Nikola Jokic rest. And what that rest has converted to is him not playing 42 minutes a night and him having the best numbers of his career after finishing top 3 in MVP odds the past 5 years. The reason that Nikola Jokic is playing his best basketball is because he's fresher than he's ever been. He's making quick decisions. That's what this is about. It's not just about Cam Johnson being better than Michael Porter Jr. This has affected the team, and you're starting to see it with Denver's success. Back to the trade, they need some more shooting. Hopefully Cam Johnson can figure it out, but nobody's arguing that MPJ is a worse player than Cam Johnson. That's ridiculous.
I don't know what's funnier, the fact that you completely missed the point that I said in the beginning. There was financials that played a part in this, or the fact that you think Jonas Valanciunas is the reason why Nikola Jokic is having the best season of his career.
No, he's not the reason. Nikola Jokic looks fresher at this point in the season than he ever has, and it's because he's getting longer periods of time on the bench. At the 9-minute mark last year, Nikola Jokic was walking to the scores table after playing the entire third quarter. Now you're looking at games in the fourth. He's not coming in until the 7, 6, or even 5-minute mark through the fourth, and he's able to finish out these games a lot fresher. And that is due in part to Jonas Valanciunas, not because of Jonas Valanciunas.
Over the last 5 years, Nikola Jokic has, this year, he's playing 33 and a half minutes per game. That would rank third. The 2 years where he's played more minutes per game, he played more minutes per game last year by 2 minutes, and then the year before by 0.1. He's playing the same amount of minutes he's ever played, essentially.
Yeah, but he's getting longer stretches on the bench. That is what I'm arguing, Joel. He's getting longer. Yeah, he's getting longer stretches on the bench because they're not getting absolutely murdered like they were in the past. They're still losing with them off the court. Everybody's going to lose with Jokic off the court, but he's getting longer stretches on the bench, which is more important.
If Denver makes a move, it has to be for a utility player that doesn't cost that much. I look at 2 that make sense for them, and it could help them. One is defensively. I think Chris Dunn would really help them defensively. Chris Dunn has really been amazing for the Clippers. He was an all-NBA level defender last year, but he didn't qualify for it. I think he'd be an amazing addition for them. And then Ayo Dosunmu on the Chicago Bulls. I think he's kind of getting buried in Chicago with the guard play there that they have, Josh Giddey and Kobe White. But he still is able to make an impact, and he's a great spark plug. I mean, I think a player like that makes sense for Denver. I don't see Denver big fish hunting. I think the team that we see them with now, that's the team they're going to have for the entirety of the season.
I'd call Boston about Sam Hauser. I just need reliable shooting around Nikola Jokic. That's what I need.
Hauser. That's the guy.
You're sitting here talking about a Chris Dunn.
Chris Dunn is a defensive mastermind.
He is, and you're like, he didn't qualify. I wonder why, because he didn't play enough games.
No, it's because it's his minutes. He played like 20 minutes per game. You need to play more. Okay. That's Alex Caruso didn't qualify
I'm sure he'll find those on a contending Nugget squad for sure.
Alex Caruso didn't qualify either. Are we going to knock him?
No, we're not going to knock him. Alex Caruso is a champion. All right, let's get into the Houston Rockets. I put Derek White on here. I obviously, they clear cut and dry. They need a point guard. Hopefully, Reed Shepherd has been a little bit more encouraging as of late. I still don't know if that's a fix.
I think that Reed Shepherd has shown enough to where I'm fine with the guard position. Reed Shepherd is shooting like 47% from 3. Yeah. He's been an absolute flamethrower. And Aaron Holiday, I really like Aaron Holiday a lot. I feel like whenever Aaron Holiday comes into the game, he gives them solid production, solid minutes. He plays hard. He's a smart player. So I don't feel like Derek White contractually, it makes sense for them to go after Derek White.
Sure.
So I would stick with the roster that they have currently. I don't even know if Derek White is like the move that they need to push them over the hump either, because Derek White has played awful this year. He's been Absolutely terrible.
Look at the team he's on, Joel. I mean,
Oh
what are we
my
doing?
goodness.
What are we
No, no,
doing? He went
I'm
from
done
playing
with
next to
this.
Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, Kristaps
He's still
Porzingis, and
playing next to
Al
Jalen
Horford.
Brown.
Come on. I mean, he's got nobody with him.
He's
Three of
still
those
playing with
guys would
Jalen
not
Brown.
start on an NBA team.
So why is Payton Pritchard playing better than him?
Because Payton Pritchard's role is less than Derek White. Derek White's the second guy on the whiteboard now.
They're both
That's a lot
starting.
different than being a fourth or fifth starter.
No, I mean, of course, it's a lot different. Derek White was always just a role player. Anybody that thought he was like all-star caliber, they're seeing now very clearly that he can't be that. If he's the fourth, fifth guy on your team, he can look a lot better than if he's the second. And we've all known that. You're not breaking any news here. But if the Rockets were to make a move, I'm looking at a player that, I mean, he's young, he's athletic, he dresses nice.
I swear to God, if you say Ja Morant.
I'm looking at Quentin Grimes. That's what I'm looking at. And I think that Quentin Grimes is quietly the prized possession in this trade deadline.
Lord.
I think Quentin Grimes he's a gem. He's a gem on a 1-year deal. You poach him out of Philly. You know that he's not going to be a long-term guy there. That's the prize of the trade deadline, Quentin Grimes.
You need to turn around, dismantle that frame, take the Mahomes jersey out, and put a Quentin Grimes jersey in, because the amount of times you have brought his name up through the summer, through the preseason, and through this NBA season has been far too many. With that being said, I completely and wholeheartedly agree with you. Quentin Grimes would be perfect on the Houston Rockets. The money wouldn't be tied up past this year. You wouldn't have to make a decision on it until the summer. Yes, that would give you a safety net with Reed Sheppard. Reed Sheppard, yes, has improved and stuff, but do I trust him in the postseason whenever you have teams in the Western Conference like the Thunder, Nuggets, and Lakers and Timberwolves to worry about? Reed Sheppard, we saw what he did against the Thunder first game of the year. It was unfair to judge him on that because OKC's defense is so much better than everyone else's. But in the postseason, I don't know if I want to rely on that as much. So Quentin Grimes, I wouldn't mind at all, and the cost would not be that much.
Just look at the contract that Quentin Grimes has right now.
It's unfair.
It's 1 year, $8.7 million.
Unfair.
I think that to get Quentin Grimes, you would just need to like trade a first round pick, if that. And I feel like it's well worth it to trade that. Like, I think Quentin Grimes could really move the needle for Houston.
And Joel, this is the same NBA where Jalen Suggs is making $35 million this year alone. That is happening. And a guy like Quentin Grimes is making $8 million. Not to hate on Jalen Suggs, it's not a shot at him. But originally, to open up this offseason, Quentin Grimes, his agent was expecting $25 million for him. That's what he was asking for. I don't know, that may feel a little rich, but he is a $15 to $20 million player, which is double, might be triple than what he's making right now.
Would you trade Tari Eason for Quentin Grimes?
Yes, that was the first name that came to mind. I literally just Googled Tari Eason's contract. Yes.
Yeah, because they would still need to add somebody else with Tari Eason.
Yep.
Because Tari Eason's making 5 point something million.
Mm-hmm.
But if you package like, and I would hate to do this, but package like Tari Eason with like Aaron Holiday or Jeff Green.
Now you're fucking trading him.
Like
5 minutes after you bragged on him.
Like for example, like Aaron Holiday and Tari Eason, that works. Tari Eason and Jeff Green works contractually.
Yeah.
And I think if you trade Tari Eason, he's a young enough player to where you might not even need to trade a pick. Yeah. I just think that that's a no-brainer for Houston because they have size already. Dorian Finney-Smith is coming back. So you have Reed Sheppard with Quentin Grimes, Amen Thompson, KD, Alperen Sengun. I mean, I think Tari Eason last year really fit the identity of the Rockets team. This year, he's kind of been a wonky fit.
Yeah. It feels like overlap with Jabari Smith. That's what it feels like. It feels like overlap with Jabari Smith. And everybody wants to rag on Nico Harrison about the Luka trade, rightfully so. But what doesn't get talked about is that Quentin Grimes for Caleb Martin move. What was that? That was one of the worst. That was easily the second worst trade of his tenure and might be the second worst trade all of last season. That was an unthinkable move. And Quentin Grimes, I think he's the move to make for the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for Philly too. They need more size, they need more wings.
And
I
it's
think
better
it'd
fit.
be a
You
perfect
got
fit.
the backcourt there. You already got the backcourt with VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey, and I mean Jared McCain's there too. So you don't need Grimes. You don't need 4 guards there. Let's move on to the Indiana Pacers. I think clearly what we had talked about is they had a gaping hole at big man that has not worked out and not been able to be replaced by the man they signed. So they need to call New Orleans to get one of them, like one of those big men, whether it's Yves Missy, whether it's Kevon Looney, take your pick. New Orleans has too many of them, and I think they'd be willing to sell. You can call about Daniel Gafford. I think that price is going to be too rich with the amount of suitors there, and same with Nic Claxton and the Nets.
So are we talking about the Pelicans right now?
I'm about the Pacers.
Okay, the Pacers. I agree with you. I think Daniel Gafford's like the perfect fit for them.
Yeah.
And that's who I had written down for them. This is a rebuild year, retool year for the Pacers. I think they just need to try to fill the holes that they left alone. And the perfect trade candidate for them is Benedict Mathurin. And Mathurin's going to get traded. It's just about when. Yeah. And he can get traded for one of those centers. I think it fills a need. And when Halliburton comes back, they're going to be ready to roll.
Yeah, for sure. Let's move to the LA Clippers. I put DeMar DeRozan here. You thought you replaced Norm Powell with Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal's out for the season. DeMar DeRozan makes sense literally nowhere else except the LA Clippers. It's funny we're sitting here talking about them getting older, but that's a move that makes sense for the Clippers. You want to try to save this 4-10 start, I think you have to do it by making a move for DeMar DeRozan.
I see the Clippers being one of the teams that go all in on Anthony Davis. Trading John Collins, Bogdanovich to match salaries. They have, I think, 1 or 2 tradable first-round picks left, so trading a first. Anthony Davis is like the only thing that can salvage their season. And then you can talk yourself into Kawhi and Harden and Anthony Davis. You can talk yourself into it.
It's a 2017 All-Star team.
Yeah, they're stuck, though. It's either that they make a move, a big splash move, or they continue to be bad and they just let OKC get a top pick this year. Yeah. That's what it's basically about.
Staying in LA, let's talk about the Lakers. I said reunite Luka with Lively or Gafford. Take your pick, but they need another big outside of Ayton and Hayes. I don't want to see Jackson Hayes in the playoffs again.
No, Ayton is just fine. He can play just fine there.
You wouldn't want to have Daniel Gafford as your backup big.
I would.
We saw that formula go to the NBA Finals. Okay.
But just know who the locked-in starter is. That's what I want you to acknowledge. Who the locked-in dominator is.
We'll see what the price is next summer. I mean, some guy comes in offering what DeAndre Ayton probably wants. I'm not paying that, but we'll see.
I like Aaron Nesmith to the Lakers.
I do too. Jarris Walker's. Pacers have a ton of movable guys. Ben Mathurin, Jarris Walker, Aaron Nesmith. So I don't disagree with any of that. Memphis Grizzlies. I thought long and hard about this one. Could take the easy way out. Hey, let's trade Ja. Let's do that. Obviously, you see what's behind me. I'm not going to say that. So this is what I came down to. At 4-11, they don't need to make a trade.
No.
They need to call Taylor Jenkins because Tomas Isolo is 1-19 against teams over 500. And I'm not being serious when I say call Taylor Jenkins, but that was a massive, massive mistake with 9 games remaining in last season. And instead of us talking about a trade that can save them, because a trade can't save this team.
Absolutely not.
Easy.
They're done.
Easy. A trade can't save this team. I'm not going to be naive. But Taylor Jenkins was the coach that embodied this team's identity, and Tomas Isolo does not do that. Calling out your best player whenever you've done the job that you've done was hypocritical to me. The way that Ja Morant responded was hypocritical to me. But Taylor Jenkins was a mistake. There's just been so many mistakes that have led to this point, not to mention 2022, when the team was at their best, you had Dillon Brooks and Steven Adams. And at those 2 positions in 3 years, and no point has either of those positions ever been upgraded. Zach Edey is not better than Steven Adams. Any guard that was next to Ja Morant is not better than Dillon Brooks. You can make the argument for Cedric Howard, but Tomas Isolo doesn't even want to play, or it took him 15 games to start Cedric Howard. So there's been so many mistakes that have led to this, and no trade can save this team.
No, they just don't have anybody people want. Like, nobody wants Ja Morant.
Here we go.
Being honest, like who's really clamoring at the table for Ja Morant? I mean,
you are clearly not on Timberwolves Twitter. Clearly not.
If you play fantasy basketball, nobody even wants to trade for Ja Morant. And we're talking about
Is he on your team? Where is this coming from?
No. He's on my girlfriend's team, and she's been trying to trade him because he's unavailable.
You're the GM of your girlfriend's team. Be serious. Your girlfriend is not running that team.
No, she's
I know who the man of the house is. You're the GM of that team. That's why you're frustrated.
No, she's running the team, and she's frustrated that nobody wants Ja Morant, that he doesn't play. And then I just told her, I mean, imagine how the Grizzlies feel. You know, nobody wants him. He
Imagine
doesn't
how Jack
play.
feels.
He doesn't play. When he plays, he's underwhelming. He's not giving you any real production. I mean, yeah, I think the best thing for them is just to tank and get the top pick and see where it goes from there.
Yeah, that crown jewel of the Desmond Bane trade isn't looking so hot whenever Phoenix is 9-6 and in the playoff picture. So
Yeah, Phoenix is balling right now.
yeah, they are balling, and Dylan Brooks is the reason of it. And Dylan Brooks, I don't know if you saw that post game whenever he said, like, when's the last time you weren't confident? And he was like the 2023 series against the LA Lakers whenever GM Zach Kleiman for the Grizzlies told me not to shoot more than 6 times. That was his answer.
Damn.
Yeah, it's tough.
Damn. Yeah.
I agreed with Zach Kleiman, though, and Dylan Brooks clearly didn't listen. He shot 11% from 3 and 19% from the field, but
He's the reason you guys lost, I guess.
no, the reason we lost is why we lose every year. It's injuries. That's the reason we lost.
Yeah. Yeah. Cope.
And okay, we'll see. Moving on to better teams, Miami Heat. I like what they're building right now. I want to see that. I want to have them see it through. But if it isn't sustainable, just make a call about Trae Young. Just check in on him. That's all. That's all I'm asking.
I actually like Miami as a AD destination. I think they could trade Tyler Hero straight up for Anthony Davis.
Why?
I think Anthony Davis is a better player. He adds to their defensive identity. And I like the front court fit between him and Bam. So I like AD a lot there.
Why does Anthony Davis, in your mind, fit better on the Miami Heat than the Golden State Warriors?
Because the Warriors would have to trade Draymond and Jimmy Butler.
So, oh my God, we cannot trade a 40-year-old Draymond Green for Anthony Davis, but Tyler Hero, who's in his mid-20s, the prime of his career, yeah, let's just send him off for Anthony Davis.
In the playoffs, Miami has consistently been better when Tyler Hero was not played. They've made their finals run when Tyler Hero did not play. Right now, he's not on the court, and they have a top 10 offensive rating. And it's all because of how unselfish and they're basically running the Grizzlies offense last year. And Tyler Hero, I think,
shot.
Yeah, I mean, they are. And Tyler Hero, needs a lot of ball screens. I mean, I think he's an exceptional player. And that's why I think, the Mavericks would really do that trade because they'd get Tyler Hero, who can now take pressure off of Cooper Flag and be the ball handler for that team. And then Miami, they have their scorer. Norman Powell is their scorer. Norman Powell is unbelievable. And when Tyler Hero comes back, is that going to take away from Powell's game? How is that going to work? I think the fit is kind of questionable. So I think Miami's the one team that they have that one trade piece they could just trade straight up for Anthony Davis. And then AD makes Miami better.
It's not what I'm arguing. I'm not arguing they don't make them better. What I'm arguing is that Anthony Davis fits better on the Golden State Warriors. And when you talk about parting ways with Draymond Green, understand what that means. If you're not willing to do it for Draymond, I would be willing to do it for Jimmy Butler. At this point, the most glaring hole on the Golden State Warriors roster is at big man. And what they brought Jimmy Butler in to do was get to the free throw line more. This was a team that was last in free throw attempts. Anthony Davis fits that. If I'm AD, I'd much rather be at Golden State than Miami. And if I'm looking at it from the 30,000 foot view that we are, that's a better fit. I understand what you're saying as far as Miami and Tyler Hero. If I'm the Dallas Mavericks, do I want Tyler Hero next to Cooper Flag? You're talking about selfishness and, assist and all the new offense that Miami's running. Do I want him next to Cooper Flag? I don't necessarily do.
I think with Golden State, the disconnect we're having is I'm valuing Draymond Green more, I guess, than you.
I just took him out of the equation and said I'd do it for Jimmy Butler too.
I wouldn't even do that because then it's like you don't have the
Jimmy Butler's an older player.
But you don't have the perimeter creation. Like Jimmy Butler's perimeter creation is so crucial to what they do. And like Tyler Hero is not an anchor of anything. He's not an anchor defensively. And last year as an all-star, Miami was one of the bottom 10 offenses in the NBA, offensive rating wise.
They have a brand new system, Joel.
I understand that.
Just said
I understand that.
We haven't even seen them in it. We haven't even seen them in it.
They have a brand new system that's top 10 without Hero right now.
Yes.
Which goes to show that Hero is not a true anchor of either side of the ball. He doesn't dramatically make your offense better from a team standpoint, and he for damn sure doesn't make your defense better. It makes your defense worse. Draymond Green single-handedly transforms a defense. And maybe you can argue Anthony Davis can transform a defense in the same way, although I haven't seen those results. Like I think Draymond Green's a better defender than Anthony Davis. I think he positions himself better than Anthony Davis. although I can see the argument for it, Draymond is the anchor of one side of the ball. And that's the reason why I value him. And then what he does offensively, being Steph Curry's pick and roll partner, I don't feel like that chemistry is easily replicable. That's why I love Anthony Davis and Golden State if those three are there still. If you take one of them away, I still feel like it takes away from the depth of the team. Because right now, the problem with Golden State is their depth. That's their problem. It's not the three at the top. It's everybody else after that.
Fair. Moving off Golden State, we'll just stick it to Miami. I've seen this offense. It's a regular season offense, Joel, and I know what's happening. You have seen these first few games in October and November, and you're like, oh, yeah, this will translate to March, April, and May. Especially, you won't need a guy like Tyler Hero to go get you a bucket at the end of the game. I've watched this offense work in regular seasons. It works, especially in this conference, in this regular season. It works, and the statistics show that that is the case. However, you're going to need a guy to close out games outside of Norman Powell. Get serious, bro. Can we?
Norman Powell is who would you guys trust? Like Tyler Hero or Norman Powell? I think
Tyler Hero's done it in the NBA Finals. He's done it in the NBA Finals.
What?
We watched that.
Really?
Yes.
If I look up how much he averaged in NBA Finals, it better be more than 15 points. If you're trying to convince me on Tyler Hero,
how many is Norman Powell average in the NBA Finals? Do you want to talk about his finals averages in Toronto? Can we do that?
Tyler Hero, his career high in the playoffs is averaging 17.8 points per game. This was last year. 41% from the field, 31% from three. The year before he averaged
different offense, by the way. Completely different
system. The year before he averaged 17, shooting 38% from the field and 35% from three. In the NBA Finals, let's see how much Tyler Hero averaged. And I love Tyler Hero, so I hate that I'm doing this. He averaged 14.7 points and shot 37% from the field.
Pull up Norman Powell's. Oh, by the way, who was Tyler Hero playing against in those finals?
The Lakers.
Okay.
You're talking about his rookie year, though. Who do you trust to get a basket? Anthony Davis or Tyler Hero?
Who do you trust to get a basket? Anthony Davis or Draymond Green? What are we doing? We're
talking about the Heat right now, though. The Heat right now.
Okay, and I turned it to the Golden State Warriors. I trust Anthony Davis more than Draymond Green. I trust Anthony Davis more than Jimmy Butler at this age. Anthony Davis is younger than both of those guys.
The thing is, though, is that with the Heat, they would still have Bam, Wiggins, Norman Powell, and then they'd have AD. I think that, you just have to trade Tyler Hero. It doesn't affect their long-term core. Jaime Jaquez, Khalil Ware.
Rozier.
Come on, man.
Not Rozier.
You're sleeping on this AD to Miami fit.
I'm not, because I'm not trusting a regular season offense through 14 games. We'll see. I'm excited what Miami's been. I think it's great for them. But as far as going out and trading for Anthony Davis, I think that is completely unnecessary. And for a team like Golden State, I think it is necessary. I think it means everything. Milwaukee Bucks. I put Jeremy Grant on here. They would have to include Kyle Kuzma. Obviously, the first-round pick swap that they have left. Some more money in there, but
for Jeremy Grant.
Yes.
For Jeremy Grant.
Yes.
A first-round pick.
Yeah.
I can't get behind that, man. I can't.
What other moves they have left, bro? What else can they do for Giannis?
They really
Jeremy
can't.
Grant, Miles Turner, and Giannis Antetokounmpo sounds a hell of a lot better than what they have now. It does.
Not if they have to trade a first. If I'm trading a first, let me go get Quentin Grimes for a first. I'll do that. Let me get Quentin Grimes.
What about Ryan Rollins, dog?
Ryan Rollins, Quentin Grimes. Rollins is the point guard.
Okay. So Quentin Grimes would be the point guard for Houston, but not the point guard for Milwaukee. Got it.
No, he'd be the shooting guard in Houston.
Okay. Yeah.
Their point guards are men. So
you just hate Jeremy Grant. That's what it comes down to, then.
No, Jeremy Grant's just, he's fine, but he has a big contract. I would steer clear.
I'm pretty sure it's the final year of that, by the way.
Is it? I think it's one of the final years. I think next year's the final year.
Okay, so it's not a lot. You're talking about a timetable that includes Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, but I don't think Draymond Green. Draymond Green. I don't think Jeremy Grant.
You love him, don't you?
I don't think, and he has, oh my God, Jeremy Grant has a player option in 27 and 28.
Okay, never mind. I take it back. You were right. It's the second to last year, but the player option changes everything. I take it back. I'm done.
Yeah, my goodness.
I take it off the table. You convince me.
Giannis is going to demand a trade by the offseason at this rate.
For sure.
He still might.
For sure. Minnesota Timberwolves are next. I put whatever it takes for Ja Morant. Ja Morant has shown he can't be the number one option on a contending team. One, It's a maturity thing. Two, you can argue the game stuff. I'm not willing to believe that he has declined this much. I think it's the weight of a franchise he cannot carry. We have seen Anthony Edwards can carry that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think Anthony Edwards and Ja Morant are friends? I remember that 2022 playoff series, how much they were talking, how much dialogue was going on between them. I think that would be an amazing pairing for both of them. Ja Morant has always needed to be flanked by a defensive wing. Anthony Edwards, one of the greatest defenders in the NBA. He's always needed to be flanked by three-point shooters. Again, Anthony Edwards, one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. I think that star pairing would be very, very good for Minnesota, and their fans know it. Minnesota Timberwolves Twitter knows it. And for you to be as oblivious as you are and to say to me with a straight face that nobody in this league would want Ja Morant, that is unfathomable and a flat-out lie on your end.
What would they trade?
What is his market? What would they need to trade? Seriously.
I mean, I don't know, but they need to make the money work somehow.
They could make the money work, and whatever they would offer or put together to make the money work, the Memphis Grizzlies, if they wanted to trade, I don't think they want to trade Ja Morant, but if they wanted to trade Ja Morant, would pull the trigger. There wouldn't be a lot more offers on the table.
I wouldn't even trade Nas Reed straight up for Ja Morant.
That is the most ridiculous thing you have ever said.
I wouldn't.
The most ridiculous thing you have ever said.
I wouldn't, especially if it's Nas and Dante. Oh, count me out.
You just said Nas straight up for Ja Morant. Get serious.
I wouldn't. He's a sixth man of the year. He's reliable. He shows up. He adds positional versatility. I wouldn't. That's just me, though. And I think that if the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to get a point guard, get somebody reliable, get somebody with championship experience. Go get Derek White. Get serious. If they get Ja Morant, this is just
ragged on how bad Derek White has been.
He has been bad, but now in Minnesota, it's a different situation. And I do think that at least he plays defense. He'll play defensively, play well.
What defense do they need? That. They have Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert, and Jaden McDaniels. What more defense do they need, Joel? They need another star next to Anthony Edwards.
They need point of attack defense.
They need a point guard for the future that matches Anthony Edwards' timeline, and Ja Morant is that. Rob Dillingham is not. All these other guys are not. Terrence Shannon doesn't have the ceiling that Ja Morant has. Let's get serious.
Isn't even the franchise point guard for the Grizzlies.
Exactly. He wouldn't have to be the franchise guy in Minnesota. He can just be the point guard of the future for them.
Why do I want a player that can't shoot and can't defend?
He can ride shotgun.
He can't shoot and he can't defend. I'm good.
That's ridiculous.
I'm good. Derek White at least can defend and he can shoot.
If you polled every GM in the NBA and asked them, would you trade Nas Reed straight up with Ja Morant? All 30 of them would say yes. But hey,
I don't think so.
This is why you are who you are, Joel. You are who you are.
I don't think so. I mean, listen, man, you are higher on Ja than me.
I'm not high on Ja. I'm not high on Ja. I'm a Grizzly. Like, I am not what I was on Ja Morant. I'm not super high on him. He is his best whenever he doesn't have to be the franchise guy. He's tried to put this on Jaren for 5 years, but Jaren's just simply not a good enough player. Anthony Edwards is. He's a face of the NBA kind of guy, and Ja Morant would fit perfectly next to him. Perfectly. Because you know why? Ja can't shoot. He cannot play defense. You're right, but Anthony Edwards can. You know what Anthony Edwards can't do? Facilitate. Ja Morant can do that.
Nas Reed is averaging 20 and 9.
All right.
Per 36.
Are we going to believe a 14-game sample size, or are we going to believe an All-NBA appearance?
Nas Reed is pretty much, per 36, Nas Reed has basically been averaging 20 for the last couple of years.
I don't have to quote per 36 with John. I don't have to do it. I point at his accolades, like what he's done.
When? How long ago?
Acting like 20.
Does he have an accolade as impressive as sixth man of the year over the last 2 years?
He was an all-star 2 years ago, bro. What are we doing? What are we doing?
You're
acting like this is a decade ago. This isn't Derrick Rose in 2014, dog. Like, this is 2 or 3 years ago.
Ja is clearly declining.
The best possible fit for him is the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I disagree, but I understand. Hey, listen.
What's a better fit? What's a better fit?
There's no good fit.
Okay, so he's just gonna be out the league. He's just done.
I'm not saying he's out the league, but it's like
done, according to you.
He's like a Stephon Marbury. He's gonna bounce from team to team, and he's not gonna fit or win with any team, and he's just gonna go to China or something and get a statue. You know, like Ja Morant is pretty much. I
hope you're not sitting courtside in the Garden anytime soon.
I think Ja Morant's time as like an NBA franchise player and true star is over. It's done.
As a number one, I agree.
Not even as
But
number one, as a number two.
no, as a number
I don't
one,
see it.
yes.
I don't
No.
see it. I don't see it. There's so many
You're going to
point
see
guards
it
I
when
prefer.
Minnesota offers what they offer because they will call if
Okay.
they haven't already.
I'm interested.
Okay. New Orleans Pelicans. I put Aaron Nesmith for them.
I don't think they need anything but to trade Zion, honestly. That's it.
Okay. New York Knicks. Like I
Najee
said,
Marshall.
Yeah, they need a call about Ty Jerome. Correct.
Or Quinn Grimes. Reunite him.
There's a
Back in the Garden.
We need a counter on screen for Quentin Grimes. All right, Thunder, I put nothing. Agreed?
Yeah, I think it's nothing.
Look how hesitantly you agree with me. I love it. The Magic, whatever it takes to get a shooter, another Sam Hauser team, in my opinion. Duncan Robinson, Malik Monk, whatever you want to say.
I think trading away Tyus Jones or releasing him.
Yeah.
I think Tyus Jones is such a negative for their team, and they're trying to treat him as like an on-ball creator when he's not that. And he's taking away usage from like Franz Wagner and their other really good players.
How much usage is he taking away from those guys? Come on.
I think he actually leads a team in usage percentage. Yeah, last time I checked. Last time I checked, he was leading the team in usage percentage. So that's why I say that.
That's crazy.
Let me see. Looking at advanced stats.
Last time that I checked.
I guess not. I guess not. He's lower.
Okay. Let's get to the 76ers. I put Jared McCain on here, but I mean another Quentin Grimes counter in 5. The cluster guards, they just need it. Like they have their guys. It's VJ Edgecombe, it's Tyrese Maxey. It doesn't include anybody else.
Yeah. I think they need to add more size to the team. And we talked about what that could look like earlier.
Tari Eason, yeah. Phoenix Suns. It's another good fit for Ja Morant. He wouldn't have to be a number one here. Devin Booker's a franchise guy there. They need a point guard. They need facilitation, especially next to Jalen Green and Devin Booker. It may have to include Jalen Green. Who knows? But Ja Morant next to Devin Booker, I think is another good fit, just like he would be next to Anthony Edwards. And the fact that people just think he can't play in the NBA anymore or compare him to guys who never won a playoff series or had 47 points multiple times in a playoff game is utterly ridiculous.
Ja, the 2022 playoff riser. What a joke.
What a joke. He had multiple game winners in that series. What are we doing?
I mean, listen, man. I think the Suns need to I don't think they have enough to trade for Ja, number one. I think it'd be short-sighted, number two. They really have nothing to lose, so I guess they could like do it if they really wanted to. But I like what they have right now. I don't think they have enough pieces to really go out and trade for anybody of substance that really move the needle for them. But I like how they play. Like I really like how they're playing right now. I like the addition that Dylan Brooks has made to the team. He's been really awesome for them, which was never in doubt, by the way. You know, he was really good in Houston. He's really good with the Grizzlies, even though he's scapegoated. So, you know, I think the Suns are tough, defensive-oriented team that they don't have the personnel to play great defense every night, but they try.
Wait until these percentages even out. It's okay. Dylan Brooks has only taken 16 shots a game. That's going to be a recipe for success over an 82-game season. You're right, Joel. Let's move on. Portland Trailblazers. I think it's another Lowry marketing team. I got them up there with Detroit. Detroit takes a swing. It should be on marketing. I think if the Trailblazers do, it should be on marketing as well.
I have them standing pat. I think that they're finding their flow. Their big addition is going to be Scoot Henderson just getting healthy and seeing what he can provide for them.
Sacramento Kings, I've said, finally start a full rebuild. Move Levine, move DeRozan, whatever it takes.
Yeah, Anthony Davis is a team that's been rumored here a little bit, but I don't like it. But yeah, they need a rebuild.
San Antonio Spurs, not to keep beating a dead horse, but I would try to move off De'Aaron Fox if you could. He has his lowest scoring output in half a decade. He doesn't fit the timeline of this team. He's eating into the development of their younger guards. Do I need any other reasons besides that? I don't think so. Try to move off of him if possible. But it's probably impossible because like we talked about when they signed the contract, it was virtually unmovable and is going to hinder how they can build around Victor Wembanyama for the years and years and years to come.
So I love how you're cherry picking the slow starts of De'Aaron Fox's year because he was coming back from an injury. But over the last 3 games, he's averaging 26 points and 8 assists per game, along with 2 steals. And the Spurs have been winning, by the way. They won recently with him.
Oh, wow, they beat the Grizzlies. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. He actually cooked your team, didn't he? He cooked you. You had a front row seat to him cooking your team. And I was with no
You think I watched that?
Do you think that a star player is able to a player that's not a star is able to win games without the best player and the other important piece of the team? That's what Fox can do for you. He can will a team to victory when there's nobody out there. He outplayed Jaren Jackson Jr. and that's your franchise player. So
Wow.
you put some respect on De'Aaron Fox's name because listen, I think the Spurs, they're another team, man. Just be patient. Just ride what you got out. They got something brewing here.
I mean, do they have a choice? Do they have a choice? Seriously.
They
They
do have
can't trade
you always
him.
have a choice. You got a
They can't
choice.
trade him. OKC had that move. They had not paid Josh Giddey yet. They could make that deal for Alex Caruso. Spurs don't have that option, and that's the problem. If they were to make a move, they could somehow pull off a deal with him. That's the only move they could make or should make, in my opinion. Toronto Raptors. I keep seeing them as a Ja Morant team, but if I'm them, I'm happy at 10-5. I don't want to have
Happy with
that.
quickly.
What was that?
I'm happy with quickly.
What I was going to say is I don't want them to have that kind of win now trade when they're already winning. They don't need to do that. I don't know if Quickly and John Morant, whatever, we'll leave that conversation for another day. I have baseless claims on John. Like, I'm not going to sit here and argue about how good or great he is. He has not been good, but I just don't understand why I keep seeing Toronto fans wanting to trade for Ja. That's something I don't.
Yeah. RJ Barrett is like a trade candidate, but they're winning games.
Yeah, 10-5.
He's an odd fit always, but they're winning. I oddly enough like Benedict Mathurin here, just a spark plug, like for scoring off the bench. I think there's going to be a team that trades for him that takes a risk on him. I wish that I mentioned it earlier with the Kings. If the Kings are going to try to settle for some young talent, go get Benedict Mathurin and see, what he could do. But yeah, I think I don't really see much trades out there for Toronto.
Nah, I don't either. I do for Utah, though. It's time. Lauri Markkanen's averaging a career high, 30.5 points per game. You know, you cannot win with him as your number one option.
Yep.
When his value is at its peak, his all-star year 3 years ago, he's averaging 5 more points than that. So his trade value is at its peak. It's still not converting to winning consistently. Make the move with all these desperate teams out there. Portland would give up something huge for him. Same with Detroit and all these other teams. As we get further down the line, as more teams start to slip, I think the offers for a guy like Lauri Markkanen, especially because he's playable 1 through 5, are going to be enormous, and I would make the move.
It's just going to be interesting to see how teams value Lauri Markkanen and what they're willing to offer. Because on one hand, if you're Utah, you're looking to fleece somebody. And on the other hand, if you're a team, maybe giving up some important young players is not worth getting Lauri Markkanen, especially with the contract that he has. So I'm interested to see how it shapes out. I think just from a fit perspective, I like him a lot in Detroit. Right now, their starting 4 is Tobias Harris. If you can replace Tobias with Lauri Markkanen and you have Cade and Duren and Asar, it really makes them dangerous in the East. They can make the finals. But I don't know if they'd be willing to part with some of their important key pieces to get that done.
I agree. Final teams, Washington Wizards. I wrote 3 words: sell the team.
Slow start. Alex Sarr's playing well. That's promising. Also, Keyshawn George playing well too.
Yep.
But they're not winning games. But yeah, I think they just got to stand pat.
Big swing on the LaMelo Ball. Would you like that?
No.
I wouldn't either. All right. That is it for us, Joel. Really appreciate you taking time. We will be right back again next week. So sorry I missed last week. I swear to God, I could not lift my head up. So thanks for coming back this week, Joel. Really appreciate it, bro.
Thank you for having me on.